All right, let's try this again. I think we got cut off. See if anybody gets on. Yeah, sorry about that. I think our internet has been running really slow, and we'll see if this is a little bit better. I know that several churches have been having trouble with their internet upload speeds through MediaCom and or just any internet in general. So I'm on my phone now, so I'm on my Verizon plan. So maybe this will be faster. But we were looking at Psalm 10. I'm gonna just start from the beginning. I guess it was kind of choppy, so I wanted to get this back out there. I think it's a pretty good psalm for us to look at this morning. Okay, so Psalm 10. We looked at Psalm 8 and 9 and yesterday and the day and earlier. And is it better now? Is it choppy now, or is it better? Someone let me know. Let's see. I'm waiting for someone to tell me if it's better or not. There's a bit of a delay. Okay, I'm gonna go. I think it's better. So Psalm 8 are a reprieve of David, facing difficulties and calling out to God for salvation. And Psalm 8 and 9 are a reprieve from that, and they are the foundation upon which David is placing his faith. Okay, so David is calling out in faith to God to deliver him from his enemies. And this sort of faith is not a blind faith. It's not a faith that is unknowing. It's a faith that is resting upon the character of God. And we see that in Psalm 8, and then Psalm 9, we see faith working itself out and faith resting upon the past work of God and God delivering him multiple times. Psalm 9 verse 1, I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will recount all of your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and exult in you. I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. So Psalm 10 returns to the darkness. Psalm 10 returns back to the depths. And it just speaks about how us as humans, how our emotions can go from such highs to lows, right? He ends Psalm 9, verse 19. And remember, these psalms weren't necessarily written in this order, but they were arranged in this order. So we can kind of make some comments about how they were arranged. Psalm 19 ends, arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before you. Put in them fear, O Lord. Let the nations know that they are but men. So this like strong claim, this strong idea where David is calling for the Lord to judge and to bring deliverance to the righteous. And then verse 10 starts, why, O Lord, do you stand far away? And you can, like I said on the earlier video, we can go to bed excited and full of energy and full of faith and wake up in the morning and feel like God is far away from us. And this just speaks to the fickleness of us as humans. Our emotions are so fickle and not to be relied upon, to be enjoyed for sure, but not to be relied upon. And we have to rely upon something else. And this psalm is going to reveal what we should rely upon at the end of it. But it's a return to the darkness. He's being attacked again. He's being aggressively pursued. Let me just read these verses. Verse 2, in arrogance the wicked hotly pursues the poor. Let them be caught in the schemes that they have devised. For the wicked boasts of the desires of the soul, and the one greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In the pride of his face the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high, out of his sight. As for all his foes, he puffs at them. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations, I shall not meet adversity. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in the villages. In hiding places, he murders the innocent. His eyes stealthily watch for the helpless. He lurks in ambush like a lion in his thicket. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws him into his net. The helpless are crushed, sink down, and fall by his might. He says in his heart, God is forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see it. So we mentioned in the earlier video that there's some pretty nasty things going on in these verses. But at the heart of all of these things, at the heart of all of this fruit of wickedness, is a heart that does not see God as being there, as being ready to judge, and as caring about what we do as people. It's epitomized in verse 11. God has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see this. While we might be quick to judge the wicked, we have to realize that every time we sin, every single time we sin, we adopt this mindset. We adopt the mindset of God is forgotten. He has hidden his face. He will never see it. And this is what I refer to as practical agnosticism, where we live in such a way that we are not aware of the presence of God, where we are not aware of the will of God in all things, or we are not living for the glory of God in all things, even in the small things. And the book of James in James chapter 4 discusses this idea further, where he talks about the man who's going to make plans to go and travel and do business. And James accuses him and says, who are you, O man, should you not say if the Lord wills? And James is getting after him because he's living agnostically. He's living as though he doesn't know God or know if God is there or if God cares about these things. And that's at the heart of this sin, and that's at the heart of all of our sins. So we all struggle with that idea. It may not rise to the level that we see with these with the wicked in these verses, but we all live with that heart, the spiritually practical agnosticism, saying God does not care about these things. God does not care about my sin. It's the prerequisite to every sin. So that is what is happening with David. He's being pursued. He's being attacked. He's being oppressed by these wicked people, and he's in the darkness again. And he's going. And this psalm doesn't exactly have like the dramatic endings that we've seen in the other ones, where David's in the darkness, but he rises out of it. But we do see is that David resolves upon his faith to trust God through the darkness, and trust God that God will handle things in his way at the end of all things. So David says this in verse 12, "Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand, forget not the afflicted. Why does the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, you will not call to account, but you do see, for you note mischief and vexation, that you may take it into your hands. To you the helpless commits himself. You have been the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and evildoer, call his wickedness to account till you find none." So he's calling out to God to fix these things in faith. And then he gives us three rock solid ideas about God that we need to always take with us when we are facing difficulty and trial. And these three things should assure us that God will definitely deliver us, and that God will make all things right in the end. And these are the three things. The first one is verse 16. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from his land. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from his land. What does that mean? It means that God is in control. God is in control. These are things that when you're facing difficulty, you should rehearse them in your mind. If you're facing something difficult, you need to say, God is in control of this. He is king forever, and the nations perish from his land. He has dominion. He has all. He is king. He is in control. Secondly, O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their heart. You will incline your ear. So the first one is God is in control. Second one is God is here, right? God is with us. God hears us. God strengthens us. God inclines his ear to us. So he's not a king that you don't have any access to, right? Not I'm going to say not many of us are able to call the president and ask him questions about what's going on. Not all of us are really even able to get through to the governor to ask him questions, or maybe even the state representatives. We don't have this kind of access with our human leaders, but we do have this access with the King of Kings, with the King of all. We have an access with him, and he hears what we ask, and he hears our requests, and he's not far off. He's not unable to hear us. He hears all that we say. So we have to remember that when we're facing difficulty. God is in control, but he's also hearing us. He's also listening to our concerns, and he's going to strengthen our heart. And then thirdly, verse 18, to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. So thirdly is that God will do what is right. No matter what it looks like from the outset or the situation we find ourselves in, we know that God will make all things right according to his plan, to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed. So the three things: God is in control, God is going to hear us, God is with us, God is near us, and thirdly, God will do what is right. And those three things are things that we can rest on and that we can hold on to, and will not be moving from us, and cannot be taken away from us. And we must not forget them, right? That's the one way that we cannot be helped by them, is if we forget them. So we need to try to ask God to keep these things on the forefront of our minds when we're faced with difficulty. When you're faced with a difficult situation, which I'm sure you will be today, or maybe even tomorrow soon, you have to rehearse those things in your mind. God is in control, God hears my concerns, and God will do what is right. And that is what David rests on as he's being oppressed by these wicked people. And that is what we too should rest on as we are facing difficulties of all kinds and sorts, the various trials that James refers to, the multifaceted trials. So I hope Psalm 10 was helpful as we went through it a second time. First one, the internet delayed us, but that just gave me time to sharpen my thoughts for it. So I praise God for that. We love all of you. We're excited to meet again soon. And if anything comes up for prayer or needs or anything, reach out, and we'd be happy to try to help and meet those needs in any way that we can. But we do miss meeting together, and we look forward to doing it again soon. But I'll be with you guys on Friday. Pastor Ben will be going live tomorrow, and we'll be excited to look at Psalm 11 on Friday with all of you.